Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining in. My name is Jessica and I am the creator of OT Genius. I'm gonna wait a little bit here to have people join in, and we should have some already in a few. All right, awesome. Awesome. Okay, so hey Adrienne, how are you? So I tagged a few of you who were in the voting and decided to discuss whether, the personal statement was a little bit more important to you at the moment or whether the GRE was more important to you. So if you're tagged, it's because I wanted to make sure that you specifically got the information that was going to be put out there today. Yeah, I'm gonna talk a little bit about myself for a second, just to introduce myself. My name is Jessica. I'm the creator of OT Genius. We've had a lot of new members come in, so I'll share a little bit about me. Like that, you're like, who the heck is this girl, and why is she, trying to help us out, and why is she putting out all this content? Number one, I am trying to help pre-OTs because I care about the pre-OT community. I myself was a pre-occupational therapy student, now an occupational therapist, and it is part of my passion to ensure that, hey Carla, how are you? Thank you for joining. And it is part of my passion to make sure that you guys get the help that you need as pre-OTs. I am stationed in Miami. And because of that, my favorite basketball team is the Miami Heat. I am very family oriented. As you can see from behind me, I do love the beach. I love traveling. I love food and wine, especially Cuban food. So I'm basically a very typical Florida girl. So that's me. And I wanted to talk to you guys about fear and how that relates to the pre-occupational therapy journey. So fear is definitely something that can get in the way of us getting into OT school. And for those of you watching, please comment down below, put it in the comments section. What do you think pre-occupational therapy students are most afraid of? What is it that they are most afraid of right now as they go along this pre-OT journey? For those of you watching. Hey Jess, how are you? I was just asking that anyone watching we're talking about fear and the pre-OT journey, and for someone to put down in the comment section, what is it that pre-occupational therapy students are most afraid of? What is their biggest fear? We have a few people on, so anyone watching. If not, I'm just going to take a guess for myself. Well, I'm assuming that the number one fear is that you all are not going to get into occupational therapy school. That is a very common fear and the most dominating fear among pre-occupational therapy students. And I want to just kind of ask you, why is it that y'all are scared of, getting into occupational therapy school? Where is this fear even coming from? And I'm asking this because if you really notice, the fear itself is not about getting into occupational therapy school. The fear comes from a lot of other implications that come along with not getting in. The fear, it's not about getting in. The fear is that if I don't get into occupational therapy school, I've wasted my time and my money trying to get in the first place. If I don't get in, then my family and my friends are going to look at me like a fool. And especially if it's my second or third time. Casey, oh my goodness, thank you so much for joining. SSPT fam right up in here. Yes. So yeah, that is one of the other implications as to why people can be scared. They're thinking about what their family is going to think. They're scared. Like, it's not about the issue of not getting in. It's about if I don't get into that particular school, I will have to leave my loved ones behind. I will have to do a longer commute than what's expected. I will have to accrue more debt because I have to go to a different school. So all of those things are the reason why students are not afraid of, the whole OT application experience. It's not about them not getting into OT school. It's about the implications that come along with it. But I want to ask you all about what is it that you think the universities are most fearful of. And if you really come to think about it, and thank you for joining, Lisa, it's not that, their main fear is they're not going to fill up their spaces, that they're not going to prepare their students well for the MBCOT, which is the board exam that you'll need to take as a occupational therapy student in the future. They are scared that they're not going to do the necessary steps and requirements to get accredited, or that the accreditation is not going to go as planned. So these universities have their fears as well. Why is that important, and why do I want you guys to understand what these fears mean for you? The reason why I think that it's important for you guys to understand what the universities are afraid of and to focus on that versus what, is what you're afraid of is because it's going to give you a leg up. Okay? If you understand what is the fears of these universities, you are going to understand that being waitlisted is not the end of the world, because now you know that that they need to fill up their spaces, and you can be just confident in the waiting game, knowing that you put in your best game. I myself, for one of the schools that I applied to, was waitlisted, and when I applied, I put in my application, put in my best work possible, and they said, no, we're waitlisted, and I felt just basically at a loss because I didn't know what else I could do. I had retaken all the prerequisites. I had improved my GRE score. I didn't have any prerequisite left. I had all these hours in various settings, and I even had a job as a rehab aide. So I thought that I was going to have it in the bag. And I just didn't know what else I could do to get in. And hey, Stace, how are you? So, I felt like I was at a loss, and that was because I didn't understand that the universities have this fear of needing to fill in their slots and their spaces. So I went basically just very full of fear and just didn't know what to do, completely lost to the university itself. And I just went over and I'm like, I don't know what to do, and then they told me you need to, just relax. You're number one on the waiting list. So, yeah, I think when you basically understand that you just understand various things about the university system, about how they need to fill up their slots. The waiting list is not the end of the game. It does not mean that it is over, okay? And you can rest confident in that. That's why understanding the fears of the universities is a game changer. And also, if you understand that the universities are, scared and have a fear of not preparing their students well for their board exams, then you can go confident into your interview and campus visit, knowing that you as a student, you as the customer, are the ones that require this preparation, and you can confidently ask them about what is it that you do to prepare your students. How are your classes structured? How do you prepare your tests for the students as they're going along their school journey? Is it structured like the MBCOT? You have the right to know these questions, and when you are coming off with this sort of knowledge, it gives you a leg up in the application game, and it definitely will also set you apart from other students, especially in the interview, and you're already asking these sort of questions, because they're going to see that you're just not thinking about trying to get in. You're thinking way ahead and trying to pass the NBCOT. You're asking more in-depth questions about how are the classes structured, how are their tests structured, and it shows that you care on a whole different other level. And, when you understand too that the universities are, not are also fearful of that they're fearful of not meeting the requirements for accreditation. Again, it gives you that leg up because you can go in confident asking these sort of questions. Where are you in this accreditation process, and what are you doing to ensure that you will get accredited so I can get my degree? All this sort of stuff is very, very essential, and I encourage you all to ask these sort of questions and to pay attention to these things. And so I basically I have a few announcements that I wanted to talk about now that we got that out of the way. Like, that was the main part of the talk. But now I want you to know that the $50 giveaway and LT Genius mug giveaway is ending on this Friday, on the 8th, on 2/8. So I invite you all to get in on the giveaway by inviting as many of your friends onto this group. The person with the most invites onto the group that gets the member approval will get a $50 cash to their PayPal, Venmo, that sort of thing. So, and if, the runner-up will get like the OT Genius mug. We also, next week, this is why I tagged some of my GRE people that voted in the poll. I wanted you guys to make sure that you knew that next week I'm going to be interviewing the one and only Kyle Rice. Dr. Kyle Rice is a physical therapist who got into PT school by taking the GRE, just like how all of you are, but he did get a perfect score on his board exams. The man is a standardized testing guru, and he is wanting to share all of his knowledge with you about how it is that he handles standardized testing and how it is that he was able to dominate the GRE and how it was that he was able to dominate his board exams as well. So if you are looking to do well on the GRE or the NBCOT, I encourage you to log on into next week's interview with Dr. Kyle Rice, because he's going to have a lot of good tips on standardized testing itself when it comes to that, and how he was able to get a perfect score on his board exam. So yes, that's right. You heard right. He got a perfect score, people. So he knows what he's talking about, and this is what he dedicates his time to. And I am very glad that he decided to come on board and speak and share his knowledge with us. So yeah, that'll be next Monday. And the thing is that with that interview with Dr. Kyle Rice, it's going to have to be a lot earlier because of his schedule. And he is only available at 5. So we are going to do our live at 5 instead of our typical time of 8:30. So I'll be sure to remind you all of that and make sure that you don't miss it if you are wanting to get the latest tips on how to do well in the GRE. That's going to be an awesome interview. Again, he scored a perfect score on his board exam, so he knows about test taking and test anxiety, and will give you guys a lot of helpful tips. Also, another announcement that I do have, class is officially in session. I am going to launch a personal statement class. Now, this is more for my personal statement people, and I am going to basically offer a class next Tuesday on February 12th at 7:30 p.m. And the link is attached down below. So go to the link if you are interested in being a part of the class. The space is limited. It's going to be an hour-long class, and within that class, we are going to talk about the things that different things that OT schools are looking for in a personal statement, and what to 15 things you can include in a personal statement, what not to include in your personal statement. We'll have a Q&A for your personal statement and what you've written so far, and see how you can change certain things. So it's going to be almost like a little mini personal statement review. And the space is limited to 5 because I want to make sure that I provide you guys the help necessary to write a good personal statement. And if I get too many people in one class, then it's going to just be kind of crazy. And I want to make sure that you guys get all your questions answered and that you guys have more than enough time to get those reviewed. The link again is down below, and it's going to be next Tuesday, on February 12th at 7:30 p.m. And so I encourage you guys to sign up. The course is $75, but this is basically going to be worth it because okay, so Stace, once I publish the live, the link is going to be there. So I'm going to post a link down below for you guys to reserve a seat for the course, and it's going to it is $75, but you know, if you come to think about it, it's going to be worth it. Like, you guys spend how many thousands and thousands of dollars on a class itself? If you do the math, you guys spend maybe what, 2.5 hours a week in one class. That's just one class for 12 weeks, right? And if you do the math, that's like where you spend over $1,000 in just one class. All, like, you know, I think it's worth it. $75. You guys are going to get all the answers and help that you guys need with your personal statement review. Get it reviewed. It will be totally worth it. It's going to be limited to 5. Once again, because I want to make sure that you guys have the space necessary to kind of work, you know, with limited distractions, and make sure that you get your questions answered to the best of my abilities. And so, yes, that's what we have going on. And I hope to catch you all next week. Again, next week is Dr. Kyle Rice, GRE man, and perfect score on his board exam for the physical therapy exam. And I know that he's a physical therapist, but he is going to give us a lot of info on just testing strategies and how he was able to do well on the GRE. So I hope to see you all next week. Bye.